I'm a part of the Matt Damon storyline, so I'm really actually in the scope of the whole film, I'm really just a peripheral character. But it's wonderful because there are so many different storylines going on, and it is, like you said, it's international. I mean, I think probably 50% of the movie is in French, which is so fantastic. You really get the opportunity to focus just on your set of scenes to create just that bit of an arc, because you know that the audience is already accustomed to having several different arcs, you know, that they're experiencing in the viewing process. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I mean, I didn't meet Clint before shooting it. I auditioned for it with his casting director and found out that I got it, and then arrived on set and met him literally 5 minutes before shooting. But he is such a warm person that it's actually, I thought I would be really intimidated, but he creates a really relaxing experience. So it was wonderful. I did a press conference with him and everyone else, and he was saying that he noticed with horses, when you're working with horses and you say action, the horses get spooked. And he realized, oh, that's kind of how it is for actors as well. And so therefore he always says, you know, whenever you're ready, or go ahead, or, you know, and when he's doing rolling, he just kind of goes like this to the camera operator. I mean, it's so great. So you don't feel the pressure that you would normally feel on a set. He is genuinely collaborative. He's very curious about what you want to bring, and he doesn't sort of like learn what you want to bring to the table through conversation. It's because he says, you know, okay, whenever you're ready, and you share with him, you know, your interpretation of the performance, and then from there, if he feels like he needs to shift things around, he'll of course give direction, and like his shooting style, he's very efficient in his direction as well. The ideas come out because we actually do it. You know, we put it right up on its feet, and we do it without anyone, you know, saying anything to us. And then, of course, you know, if he needs to shift around the blocking or something like that, he'll say, okay, you know, where do you think you would stand? Where do you think you would stand? You know, I mean, it's very comfortable and easygoing. I wanted to make her appealing, in a way that the audience felt endeared to her, but also where you've got this sense that there was something a little bit underneath the surface, and she was trying perhaps a little bit too hard, and she wanted this, you know, too much, and I mean that in itself can be endearing because you're just like, ooh, you know, but and while still hoping that they get together. So therefore, I didn't want to kind of come into the scene being utterly charismatic and nonchalant, and, you know, like the dream girl or something, because that's not what this girl is. The writing was so tight and wonderful, and Peter Morgan is such a brilliant screenwriter, and then Matt is so natural that you just feel immediately like you're in the scene. You know, it's as natural as talking to him in the elevator. You know, you don't feel like there's something happening, and I think for that reason, he is. You know, whenever you see him in a film, you just immediately believe the circumstances that he's in, because he's just that truthful of an actor. Well, I think it's a tricky subject for a couple of reasons. One, because we don't actually know the answer. We literally don't know the answer, you know, and it's hard to sometimes tell a story about something that you can't really have an ending. You know, you can't posit that question and then provide the audience with an answer, which is how most narrative structures move. You know, you ask kind of like a question in the beginning, and at the end you get an answer. I would say that the second reason is because it is a very sensitive topic. You know, it's I think because there is no definitive answer, people have differing beliefs, and therefore there are disagreements, and it can get extremely heated very quickly. And so, you know, you would want, there's certain stories that, you know that they're going to be controversial or whatever, and that's kind of what you've entered into. But this is you know, this is a love story, and you don't want a movie like this to become about what we're trying to say about the afterlife, and therefore we're not trying to say anything about the afterlife. We're just telling the story of these three different people that are having very unusual, facing death in very unusual ways, and you go on their journeys with them. I empathize with her reaction. It's sad. It's definitely sad. You know, a lot of people who have traumatic, extremely devastatingly traumatic things from their past. It's hard to face that. You know, and I think what's really admirable about her is that she's trying to move forward. You know, she's really trying to move forward, and yet she's doing that while not facing her past, which she needs to in order to heal. So, you know, I mean, that's the gift that George provides her with. But, you know, even though it is painful. If you're making a movie about a very specific topic, you don't really discuss it, because you don't want to kind of use up all that energy not being on screen. Because when you're on screen, you need to completely be focused on that, and you need to be cognizant of the thematic undertones. And so therefore, usually, like if I'm doing a scary movie, it's a hilarious set. Like everyone is making each other laugh, and there's so many practical jokes. If it's a romantic film, you know, everyone's just best friends. Like that's kind of what I've noticed. I mean, that's, you know, from my experience. It's just, it was such a dream to work with him. I mean, I think of all the things I've been a part of, this is something that all, you know, actors and my actor friends come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, what was it like? What was it like? Because he's an icon. And at the top of his game, which is something that is not typical. You know, it's not typical. So